Yep, Liz Truss has just left the Balmoral estate. In the last couple of minutes, Buckingham Palace have released another statement. It says the Queen received an audience of Right Honourable Elizabeth Truss MP today and requested her to form a new administration. Miss Truss accepted Her Majesty's offer and kissed hands upon her appointment as Prime Minister and First Lord of the Treasury. So there we have it. Liz Truss is officially the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the Queen's 15th Prime Minister of her reign, and Liz Truss is now expected to go back to Aberdeen Airport, fly back to London, and then kind of get given the keys to number 10 Downing Street, where she will read a speech, we expect. Of course, this is the first time that the Queen has appointed a new Prime Minister at Balmoral Castle. In the last kind of half an hour or so, we've actually received a couple of images of Her Majesty the Queen meeting Liz Truss in the drawing room. She is seen smiling. She was using a walking stick, but she seemed to be in pretty good spirits. Now, Buckingham Palace won't go into any more details as to why she is using a walking stick, but we do know that the original plan, it's thought, was that the Queen would make the 1,000-mile round journey to London to appoint her new Prime Minister, but due to those episodic mobility problems, as the palace described, which I think to you or I means perhaps she has good days and bad days with her movements, the decision was taken that the Queen would appoint her new Prime Minister at Balmoral Castle, and that is, we've been told, to provide certainty for the Prime Minister's diary, because the thought was that if she was due to travel down to London and then last minute she woke up in the morning and realised that her movements was not as good as it could be, then last minute travel arrangements would need to be made for the new Prime Minister to travel up very quickly to Balmoral, which would become a bit of a, let's be frank, logistical nightmare. So that's why the decision was taken. There's no constitutional reason as to why it cannot happen at Balmoral Castle. The Queen's great-grandfather, Edward VII, actually appointed one of his Prime Ministers while he was on holiday in France, because he didn't want to interrupt his holiday to come back to London to appoint the new Prime Minister. But questions are inevitably now going to be asked about Her Majesty's health and her ability to move. Prince Charles, a few months ago, read the Queen's speech on her behalf in the House of Lords. There's no indication that her health has deteriorated at all over the summer, really. But in the back of our minds, we all know that Her Majesty the Queen is 96 years old. But for now, Liz Truss, our new Prime Minister, is heading back to Aberdeen to fly back to London as she starts on her journey as being Britain's Prime Minister.